Oh, I would like to tell you about a blessing that I received. I went to a powwow in Tehachapi, California, quite a while back, and I made up a batch of fry bread dough. And my prayers asked that there be enough fry bread to feed anyone who was hungry and that was in need of fry bread. Well, left it in the sun and went around and started saying hi to friends. And when I got back, the fry bread had risen so much that it was overflowing in the car, on my station wagon, all over the place. Well, I cleaned up what was on the station wagon and cooked that up, would you believe it or not, for the animals. And then I put the fry bread someplace where it wouldn't raise so much, but made fry bread that evening. And the next morning I went around and I was going over to the station where they were feeding the dancers and the elders, and they needed more fry bread, and they didn't have time to make up a batch. So I gave them my bowl of fry bread. Well, they fed all the elders and all the dancers for 2 days off the same bowl. And Grandfather White Cloud, which was one of the elders, ended up watching this bowl regrow. He said, "It's amazing, but nobody else paid attention, even though they were taking it out all the time. They didn't realize that it was just what was taken out was replaced by spirit," you would have to say. And so it fed everybody that was in need of food, that was in need of fry bread. And when the powwow was over and it was time to go home, 3 women carried the bowl over to me very gently and said, "Thank you for your blessings. We have fed everybody off this. I understand what is said now by feeding the masses and how it can be done. Thank you." And so I packed the fry bread up and took it home. And that afternoon, after I got home, I had a pound of beans, and I cooked those up. But before I even started, I asked that the pound of beans feed anyone and everyone who happened to be there or was in need of food. I didn't know we were having company. I didn't know people were going to be showing up at 2 o'clock in the morning, which they did. But I had cooked it, and when they got there, there was a husband, wife, 4 children, and 5 elders, all with big appetites. So anyway, I started feeding them fry bread and beans. And when I got done feeding them the beans, the beans were still at the same level in the pan. And there was food left in the bowls because they couldn't eat it all. So the fry bread and beans ended up feeding, I guess you would say, kind of like masses. And the next day, somebody had some meat, and so we made Indian pasties, I guess you would say, Indian God, I can't even remember the name of it anymore. It's been so long since I made it. It was good. It was with beans and potatoes and meat and whatever else you had to put in it. And so we ended up feeding the 5 adults, or 6 adults plus me and my husband. So that made 8 adults and 4 children. And it was a good time, but the beans still remained at the same level in the pan the whole time. Anybody was there, and we used the beans quite a bit. So, the Sermon on the Hill, I guess you would say, even though I didn't have a sermon, people got what they needed, and people got fed. So I thought I would give you one of those little stories, what happens in my life. Thank you. Aho.